So, hello everyone, it's been a while. Hopefully the lights in here isn't too strange for the phone. I've got a bit of dual light going on, the shadow of the shelter, which I built last year now, because today is the 3rd of January, and I built this last January, February, something like that, and then got into turning, but more about that in a minute. But the sun is probably about as high as it's ever really going to get, beginning of January, so there's a nice bit of light outside. The sky is blue, the birds are kind of doing their winter thing. There's a gentle breeze. It's quite pleasant, really. I thought I'd do a video as like a catch-up of one I'd put out. It wasn't even last year, technically, it was the year before, because I put it out on the 30th of December 2024. My 2024 Reflections and 2025 Goals video, which was inspired by Jimmy, the Welsh Viking. That's why I did it, because I thought that's a good idea. Maybe I could do that and put some things out there. Ooh, there's a robin. There's two robins. No, that's a sparrow. Never mind. Anyway, try not to get distracted by birds, difficult as it is. Some of the things I set out to do for 2025 did happen. I didn't actually end up making my own linen tunic. I asked one of the members of the group I'm in, Becky, to make one for me, and she did an absolutely tremendous job. Here I am in said tunic in multiple places and poses. I forget what it was dyed with, sorry Becky. I think the collar and the cuffs were dyed, they're brown, so they were dyed with probably walnut. I think I really should know more of this. However, there's a magpie. It's a very noisy magpie. I did get myself a new linen tunic, so that was really good. Thank you very much, Becky, for making that. What else did I set out to do? More furniture. That didn't happen. I did make a lot of tables, like the table in a previous video. I did make a lot of them, very big ones as well. That stopped at one point, more about that again in a minute. And what else did I set out to do? Woodwind instruments, again, that didn't happen. Things happened in 2025 which, shall we say, were not good. On the 21st of January, well, before that, my dad had gone into hospital with appendicitis. His appendix was taken out. He was recovering in the hospital in Gloucester. On the 21st of January, my sister was due to pick him up and take him back to her place in Farnborough and help him recover, etc. And that morning he collapsed and died. We didn't expect it, no one saw it coming. He'd had a heart attack quite a few years ago, which resulted in a pair of stents being put in his heart, or maybe just the one, I forget. But yeah, so the doctors reckoned that his heart just gave out. It was possibly dead before he hit the floor. So that happened. I tried to, and this isn't a grab for sympathy or anything. I just think that in case any of you didn't know, who like, there's apparently 721 of you who subscribe to this channel. So if any of you didn't know, this is sort of an explanation of kind of where I've been and the reasons I've been absent on this channel so much. So obviously trying to deal with that, trying to keep going forward, trying to keep myself not going completely mad. I just tried to carry on with my life as best I could. That didn't work. And then sometime in summer, I had something of a bit of a breakdown, sort of a breakdown phase 1, if you will, where I couldn't even, I dived into the woodwork so much to distract myself from the reality of my dad dying that I then had a massive break and just snapped one day. I couldn't even look at my tools, couldn't go in the garage and even see them. I just didn't want to know. And I did one of my other hobbies, my other pastimes away from sort of work and escapism and all that, BMX, and I just rode my bike loads, and that did help. But then that helped me as well as talking, because when I'm doing the woodwork, I'm usually on my own. I don't really have anyone to do it with, because unless it's like on Zoom or something with Rise Up and Carve, but then they're not in a room with you. They are, somewhere else in the country or somewhere else in the world, so you haven't really got a personal face-to-face interaction with someone. Whereas with riding the bike, I had a personal interaction face to face next to each other, you know, could hear each other's breath interaction, and talking to people and getting things off my chest and whatnot has really helped. So that's really helped. So thank you to, I don't think anyone who I ride with is really going to see this on this channel unless they are subscribed to this, but yeah, you all know who you are. Thank you. So I slowly started getting back into the woodwork, and I got myself back into the woodwork slowly by actually making ramps to, to help me with riding my bike. There was a big BMX jam organised by one of my mates in Cardiff this year in August, and I made like a little kicker thing to go at the bottom of some big brick banks. It's one riding spot, street spot, whatever. I did that for the jam, and then made more for more places, and sort of realised that yeah, I do want to do the woodwork again. Started getting back into it slowly. When I had a sort of breakdown phase 2 where I had a very particularly difficult day in work. Things were getting on top of me. The MOT was coming up on the truck. Of course, MOTs cost money. It's what they do. If anyone doesn't know what an MOT is, it's a safety test that we have in the UK for vehicles that are younger than 40 years old, where they have to be tested every year, unless they're brand new and it's not for 3 years. Then they have to be tested every year to make sure they're actually safe for the road. And yeah, that could really get on top of me because I panic about it, and I snapped, and I ended up with 3 weeks off work because I broke properly, good and proper, because I didn't deal with the grief properly. And I'm starting to learn to do that now, and so that's a good thing. Grief can be a very difficult thing to process. I'm not going to preach on about how to do that because I'm certainly no expert. When my mum died when I was 17, I didn't process it properly then, and then broke good and proper about just over a year later when I was in work. Had a massive breakdown because Forever Autumn by the Moody Blues came on. That was one of her favourite songs. Now that I've got that out of the way, that's the two things I wanted to talk about. Expect all things I wanted to do in 2025 that didn't happen, and the reasons why, and now things that I've learnt and realised what I need to do for myself in order to keep woodworking. Now, last year, like I said already, I made loads of tables. The usual sort of thing to sell is stools, tables, occasionally the odd lyre or something if I make one and want to sell it. That's usually my bread and butter, if you will, in terms of my woodwork, to get myself a bit of like sort of cider money, mead money. And then it kind of funded the reenactment at the time without me having to do overtime in work, so that was useful. But however, like I said, it got to a point where I just didn't want to do it. I stopped doing it. I haven't even been on my lathe, which is right there. You can probably see some of it. Haven't touched that since July. It's been now 6 months since I've really been on there, and this moves me nicely onto the segment of things I do want to do. And like I said a minute ago, how I'm going to keep myself woodworking and doing what I enjoy in woodworking and keep it enjoyable, and that is purely doing it for myself. I might do the odd thing here and there to sell if someone from the group I'm in, Drackaby Order, just going to drop that name as much as I can, if they ask me if I can make something for them. The usual deal is that my mate Paul, Eindride Woodwork on Instagram, go and follow him. He is another woodworker. There's many woodworkers in the group. He's sort of the prominent woodworker. So if anyone does ask me if I can make something for them, I always say to them first, ask Paul first, because he's been in the group longer than me. He's the prominent woodworker in the group, if you will. He does know more than me about the Viking Age woodwork and such, and so they should always go to him first. I always say that to everyone. But if Paul can't do it because he's busy or for any other reason, because sometimes life just has a way of getting in the way, I will then happily give it a go if I think it's possible. But yeah, the main thing is to mostly do the woodwork just for me, because doing it for other people ruined it. Doing it a lot for other people, and having a full-time job and then trying to fit in like commissions upon commissions for the same bloody table over and over again got very, very stressful. So if I do make something to sell, it's because I want to make it to see if I can make it and then see if I can sell it if I don't necessarily need it. That's how I'm going to carry on for the future for my woodworking. I did start making, not quite on the, well, it is a woodwind instrument. I started making Jorvik panpipes. That's a 5 hold one. It's not actually in tune, and you do have to cover the sound holes that you're not going to use your fingers, because I made them too close together. See if I can get it to work. It does kind of work, but like I said, the holes are too close together, so if you just don't have them covered, it kind of works, but it kind of doesn't, so they need to be further apart. So I will be having another go at making these, and I'll probably do a video on it when I feel confident I'm actually going to get it right. I also made myself a 6-string lyre as well. I haven't clipped the excess from the strings off yet, because it's kind of gone a little bit wrong. The body, for anyone who's interested, is walnut. The soundboard is alder. The bridge is also walnut. What's that called? Tailpiece, that's walnut. The peg there for holding the tail string, that's oak. And I did make pegs out of oak, but as you can see, 4 of the pegs are protruding. The heads have not gone into the back of the head. These 2 have, so I need to make new pegs for this, because I can't actually get the strings to tighten any further than what they are, because these have compressed, these 2, and the head of the peg is now butted up against the head of the instrument itself, so I can't actually push them in to lock them. So I will fix that at some point. So I'm going to do a video on tuning pegs, how I make them, and how I make the tools you use to then tune, to turn the tuning pegs and set the tuning. That's quite a pretty one, I think. There's some nice rays and such in the alder where it's been quarter sawn. I got all this from Isker Woodcrafts in Newport, which is at Tredegar House. So yeah, go and pay them a visit if you're after some sawn wood in sort of South Wales area. Definitely pay them a visit. Also Wentwood Timber as well are worth a visit. I mean, I could at this point go set myself some goals for 2026, but I'm not going to, because things can happen, things change. I probably won't be able to stick to all of the goals that I might want to set to myself, because I have a lot of things going on. At the moment, I have obviously a marriage that I'd like to stay in. I have a full-time job. I ride my BMX. I want to get back into the woodwork. I've got back into painting Warhammer. I should have time soon-ish, at some point soon, to be able to do a bit more of the woodwork, because, well, I really would like to. So I'm going to make time to get back on the lathe. I want to get these tuning pegs sorted out, because this instrument, this particular one, is actually tuned in a different tuning to what I normally use. I normally use the same tuning that Vardruna, so that would be Einar Selvik, his brainchild of a band, use, which is C major, I think. So it's A, C, D, E, F, G, A. That one, this one is actually in G Aeolian, I think it's called. Don't ask me to tell you what exactly tuning all the strings are in. I've forgotten it because I don't normally use it. So I need to replace those 2 pegs, do a video on that. Jorvik pan flutes, do a video for them, try and do a 7 hold one rather than just a 5 that is. I think that'll do for now. Oh yeah, that chair I said, the little statue of Thor that I've got, that's a reproduction of one found in Iceland from the year 1000-ish. That didn't work out because I'm not the best at joinery, and so I kind of got lost in it, gave up on it, stuck it on top of a shelf in the garage, and haven't touched it since. I might go back to it, I might not, only time will tell. That'll do for this video. I hope you've all had a good Christmas or Yule or Hanukkah or whatever time of year it is for you and your own tradition. I hope you've had a nice new year, if New Year has been what New Year is for us in the Western world for you now. I kind of count New Year as Samhain, personally, but because I get like 2 weeks off work, now is New Year, because it gives me a chance to do things I want to do otherwise. Thanks for watching. I hope this has been insightful in some way and given a bit of an explanation as to where I've been and why. And I'll see you all soon. Reenactment season starts again in April with Glastonbury Medieval Fair, so I'll be at that for just pigeons. Before I get distracted by birds again, see you all soon. Hope you've had a good time over the last couple of weeks, and I will see you all soon. I'm surprised I haven't been bitten by a spider sat out here somewhere. Anyway, I've got to go. See you all soon.